Welcome to the Undisputed podcast. I'm your host, Jenny Taft. This podcast is the full show from today's episode of Undisputed from start to finish. They've got a busy slate, so Skip, Shannon, let's get to it.
Welcome to Undisputed. We are live from LA. I'm Jenny Taft here with Skip Bayless and Shannon Sharpe. Good morning, guys.
Good morning.
Your Los Angeles Fakers have a big home game tonight on national TV. The heat is on, and good luck to you.
Don't worry about it. We got this under control.
Do you?
AD and Melo.
You got them all.
Yeah,
you got Hall of Famers everywhere.
New dynamic duo.
Really?
Yeah.
Kind of like us, right?
I mean, let that sink in for a second, Skip. That was the best duo. Even without LeBron, that's still the best duo in LA.
Really?
What happened to your duo?
Clippers have won 4 in a row without their best player. I don't know how they've done it. No,
Like
actually
you're
5 in a row.
saying
PG
that.
might be their best player.
Dynamic
He's
duo,
making
like you're trying to
MVP
convince
case.
yourself. Okay, we'll get to those fakers. That's an interesting way to describe them, Skip. But first, we begin with the latest in Green Bay because a new report says Aaron Rodgers was fined over $14,000 for violating COVID protocols while the Packers were hit with a $300,000 penalty. The violations included Rodgers not wearing a mask during news conferences and the team not reporting Rodgers and Allen Lazard attending a Halloween party away from the team facility. So Green Bay apparently did comply with the investigation, but was also warned that future violations could result in draft pick discipline. We've been all over this. Shannon, was this enough?
No. Skip, I got a simple question. I want to ask you and I want to ask the people at home. Had Aaron Rodgers not come down with the COVID virus, do you believe the NFL would have fined the Green Bay Packers?
Well, obviously, they had let this go on and on and on. Half the season.
That's my point.
Yep.
So this was about a save face. This was about a PR move because you saw him go out there week 1. From week 1 to week 8, you knew he was unvaccinated because Aaron Rodgers said the NFL knew he was unvaccinated.
Yep.
The Packers knew he was unvaccinated. That's what he said. Yet, post-game news press conferences, he walked into a room. If you're unvaccinated, you're supposed to have a mask. He did not. For 8 weeks, and the NFL didn't say anything. The Green Bay Packers didn't say anything, even though they knew he was unvaccinated. When he contracted COVID, then all of a sudden, the PR, the bad press that all of a sudden the NFL got, because we know they're very reactive. Not proactive, they're reactive. And they say, well, hold on. You knew he was unvaccinated. You saw him come in and out of press conferences. You saw him at this Halloween party. You saw him hugging players after games were over, Skip, with no mask, unvaccinated. Yet you said nothing, yet you did nothing. It was only after that he went on the Pat McAfee show and tried to, and it got such bad press. The NFL really didn't have a choice. Skip, here's the thing, and I get this is a very similar fine to what they gave last year, but Skip, last year was different. We know more now. We have the vaccine now. Protocol should have been strictly enforced. The mandate should have been strictly enforced. And to let this thing get so lax, to let him just gallivant around like he's king of the castle. And the Packers to let this go on. And I get it, Packers. You're running a little scared right now because he had you shook. He wouldn't take your calls. You're flying all across the country, burning the shareholders' gas in a private jet to meet with him, and I get it. But Skip, this is not steep enough. Skip, what's $300,000 when the partners, Fox and CBS and ESPN, cut every team a check for $300 million? So what's $300,000 to a team that just got $300 million just from the broadcast partners? So for me, it wasn't enough because the capital, the currency that teams value the most, Skip, isn't money. You know what it is. It's draft capital. Because that's how you build a team. It ain't through money. You get the right players. So you start taking away their ability to get good players, they'll get the picture. So I don't think this was nearly enough because it went on over a period of time. Skip, if it had gone 1 or 2 weeks and they put a stop to it, okay. Give you $300,000 because you did put a stop to it. But because they allowed it to go on and on and on, I don't believe it was enough. It wasn't enough for the Packers, and the NFL should be ashamed of themselves. And Aaron Rodgers, Skip, basically what he got was an unsportsmanlike conduct penalty. $14,000, that's just like if I hit somebody, I blindside blocked them. That's all you said, Aaron, that's all you did. It's unnecessary roughness, bro. Hey, go on about your life.
I cannot express to you how much I agree with every point you just made because I got 30 more points to make. I have so many problems that we don't have enough show for me to express all the problems I have with what just came down from the NFL. I'm ashamed for everybody involved because this was even less than a wrist slap. This was a wrist tap. What just happened was that obviously the NFL just sent the wrong message, which is if you're a superstar in this league, if you're a top draw in this league, and I consider Aaron a top 4 draw in this league.
No
because
question.
my draws in order are Dallas Cowboys as a team.
Right.
Tom Brady as a quarterback, Patrick Mahomes as a quarterback, and however you want to argue those three with Aaron in the middle of those, right?
Yep.
So top 4 draw. And instead of sending a message that nobody is above COVID protocol, instead of trying to protect the product that was so ripped apart last year by COVID, right. So much money was lost because of the pandemic. You sent a new message that, hey, if you're a superstar, if you're a top draw in this league, we will look the other way.
Right.
Because everybody looked the other way for half of a football season.
Half.
Everybody knew from the top down that Aaron Rodgers did not qualify as vaccinated or immunized or whatever you want to say that he tried to sell us. Everybody knew that he lied from the start. It was the inside joke of the league office and the Green Bay organization. Right. Everybody knew. And yet he was allowed to get away with publicly flaunting the fact in their face, right under their nose, that he was unvaccinated because he went maskless.
Right. He carried on as if he was vaccinated.
That is correct. He went maskless in all of his interview sessions, and that breaks COVID protocol. Right. He went maskless on the sideline of every game. That shatters COVID protocol. And worst of all to me, he went maskless when he walked across the field to shake hands with his opponents, thereby threatening all of their ability to stay eligible and stay above COVID, right? And this was on public display, so we didn't need any video cameras.
Video evidence. We saw it.
Yeah, and they gave the Packers big credit for for cooperating with the investigation.
Skip, I watch Fox. I watch all the news. I watch him come in and do the interview. I didn't need them to cooperate.
Yeah. And the NFL said that it found a few isolated instances of Aaron Rodgers and Alan Lazard. Obviously, he also got fined the same amount, which was $14,650. We found a few instances of them failing to wear a mask in the facility. A few instances? Trust me. How about every second of every day?
Thank you.
How about it?
Thank you.
Because if Aaron has convinced himself that he's vaccinated, he's not going to wear a mask in their quarterback room.
So Skip, you and I on the same page. The NFL wants us to believe that Aaron Rodgers walked out in front of a camera, maskless, when he knew he was unvaccinated, knew people would be watching, but every time behind closed doors, he masked up.
Really? A few isolated instances.
Come on, man.
Stop it.
Don't insult people intelligence.
How gullible do you think we are?
Thank you.
Come on. So then they're saying that the fines relate only to the fact that he and Lazard both attended a team Halloween party, which shatters, any protocol because you're not supposed to gather with 3 or more, obviously, outside the facility.
Correct.
And the only reason that they're getting fined for it is because the Packers did not report that Aaron and Lazard went to the Halloween party breaking protocol. Right. So the point is, they're just saying if they had reported it to us, then it would have been okay.
Right.
Really? So you can just report, and stay above the fines for the protocol.
Well,
right?
if I'm other teams, I'm like, well, you know what? We're gonna break the salary cap, and we're just gonna report that we did it, and then nothing should happen. Because that's what you just said. You just said, if we can break the rules, but as long as we self-police and say, look, this is what we did, everything is okay. You just can't catch us. But if we come to you first, if I go to the officer, I was speeding. I ain't gonna give you no ticket. But if you catch me, this is some bull jive.
Okay, so let's be 100 here. If the NFL, watching from afar, watched Aaron week 1 do all of his interview sessions without a mask.
Right.
If they had cracked down and called
that's it.
Mark Murphy, called somebody, called LaFleur, whoever you call, and you just say, hey, not acceptable. Cannot do it. You have to tell him he has to wear a mask. Well, obviously, if Aaron starts wearing a mask to his interview sessions, people are going to start asking questions.
Right.
Aren't you vaccinated? Well, well, now he's exposed. He's outed, right? So he can't wear a mask, and so they're going to let him get away without wearing a mask.
That's why he didn't wear it, because he knew he was unvaccinated.
Sure.
And that's the telltale, Skip. Everybody, when I see guys on the sideline with a mask on, I'm thinking, oh, he ain't vaccinated.
Yeah.
Because that's the protocols that the NFL is saying, the NFLPA, that's what they've agreed to, Skip.
Yep.
If you're unvaccinated, you wear a mask on the sideline. So Aaron Rodgers knew that. He knew he had basically said he was immunized, but if he all of a sudden starts showing up wearing a mask at these press conferences, people are going to like, well, hold on, Aaron, you're vaccinated. We're all vaccinated. Why are you wearing a mask?
Okay. So clearly, the NFL was under severe threat from COVID a year ago, and so many teams were so threatened that games were in doubt. There were no fans in the stands. The product suffered. The income suffered gravely. And they said, we have to crack down this year to protect our product. Yet, they're not going to protect their product at the expense of today's product, which would be Aaron Rodgers.
Right.
So, again, to me, Aaron Rodgers deserved at least to be suspended for one game, because that would send a message to the rest of the league. We will not accept this. We will not stand by for this.
I can make a case that his conduct was detrimental to the league.
It was very detrimental.
But I guarantee you, if that had been a linebacker, that had been a wide receiver or a DB that had done what Aaron Rodgers did.
You could make a case, make an example out of him, right? Send a message.
Yes.
Well, they just sent the exact opposite message.
The exact wrong message, Skip. And then yesterday, that interview, there was some damage control. Because to me, I saw him sitting up there, I saw the same smug, arrogant, flippant, condescending, narcissistic guy that he always been. That's what I saw. I saw a guy that did not like the backlash. He thought he was sitting up there talking all slow last week on the Pat McAfee show and thought, oh, this is cool. I do me. I'm doing me. This is all about me. And that firestorm. You see, that's the thing, Skip. You and I sit up here and we say things, and we know we're going to get criticized. Everybody's not going to be happy. But I say what I said, and I move on. You say what you say, you move on. He couldn't do that. He couldn't handle that pressure that came along with his smugness, with, oh, I'm unvaccinated, and this is what I do.
Well, this is the first time he's ever been called on anything he said or done.
Yes.
Okay. And
then he lost the healthcare sponsorship. I think State Farm said they're standing behind him, although, be smart, he's entitled to his opinion.
I might have missed him, but I didn't see any of Aaron's State Farm commercials this past Sunday. Yep. Okay. Just for the record.
Right. But I'm sure that they'll come back. They'll let it die down a little, Skip. Let smoke a little, let the fire die down a little bit. We'll run it back in a couple of weeks.
So if I'm the NFL and I'm weighing how much I should fine or punish them, if I should go to draft picks yet or go to suspension for Aaron Rodgers, I would take into account whether he was contrite or not in the interviews he gave. Did you hear a note of contrition from him?
Big N.
Did you hear anything? And my favorite line from Aaron yesterday was, I made some comments that people might have felt were misleading. Might have? Well. Then he goes on, to anybody who felt misled by those comments, ... And I'm thinking, he's going to say, I apologize, right? I apologize to those. If I offended you, I apologize. But he didn't say that. No. I take full responsibility for those comments.
You should. You made them.
Okay, but the point is, when you say, if anyone felt misled,
I apologize.
I'm sorry. Okay, but the next part of that sentence says, hell with you.
Right, exactly.
It just says hell with you.
Basically.
If you felt misled, I take full responsibility. Hell with you.
Right.
Because I'm Aaron Rodgers and you're not. That's how that came across to me. Zero contrition.
I take full responsibility for misleading you, but I'm not sorry for misleading you.
I'm not sorry because I am who I am because I'm Aaron Rodgers.
Right.
So it was intriguing to me that he finally backed off a little bit and he says, I'm an athlete, I'm not an activist. So I'm going to get back to doing what I do best, and that's playing ball. Okay, so this is the guy who wanted to be the permanent Jeopardy host because he thinks he's the smartest guy in the room.
Yes.
And he does have high intellect, and he was very good. I didn't think he was the best, but he was very good at hosting Jeopardy, and he was very good at playing Celebrity Jeopardy, as you have played before yourself. So I give him all of the above, but he wanted to show everybody I'm way above you because I have researched this, and all you people out there, all you woke culture people, you don't get this. You don't really understand what's going on. So I'm going to show you. I'm going to display for you just how wrong you are about COVID and the vaccines. And in doing so, he made a fool of himself.
He did.
He said, he thought the NFL doctors were quacks, and he came off as the ultimate quack here.
Skip, sometimes I don't think Aaron understands. Scientists don't work just during a season. See, like football players, you only play during the fall. Scientists work year-round, Skip, trying to come up with cures in different diseases. And this is a SARS, so they've been working on a very similar for a decade. So this is not something, they came up with this in 6 months. No, they didn't. That's not how science works. But I forgot, he just started doing it. So how long has Aaron Rodgers been doing research on COVID? At least a decade, gotta be.
Years,
Okay.
He's way ahead of the curve on COVID, on SARS, on any of those.
I'm almost certain. And that's what he wants you to believe. I've done my research. As opposed to people that's been doing research, Skip, for 30 years. Dr. Fauci's been at this, he was at the forefront of the AIDS epidemic. Before Aaron was born.
Okay. And yet he concluded yesterday, I have a ton of empathy for people who have been going through the worst part of the pandemic. I have tried to help out as much as I can. Baloney. Baloney.
What you did more damage.
A lot of the experts think that he did the most damage that has been done through the whole pandemic because he is seen as a role model. He is a top draw in the National Football League. When he speaks, people listen. And he spoke so wrongly. So out of bounds about all things COVID that a lot of the experts that I've been reading say he did more damage than anybody has done because he gave the anti-vaxxers reason to say, aha, I was right all along because Aaron said I was right. Okay? So here we go. We just took 2 steps back because of Aaron Rodgers, who says, I've tried to help out as much as I could.
Actually, you didn't. The only person you tried to help was yourself. And we know that through history, in your history, that you were one of the most selfish people that the NFL has come across in a very long time. Hence in lies, there's why. And everybody was criticizing, and even Greg Jennings. And Greg, took some of the things back. And then people like, oh, Greg. It makes perfect sense. Very, very selfish. It's always been about him. It's always going to be about him. There's a look, Skip, you look at guys that win a lot and they're not as talented as him. There's a reason, Skip. Look at Brady. Brady don't have the talent that he has as far as the ability to run the football, to make it change platform. We were talking about this throw that Dak threw it to the ground. Aaron Rodgers would have flipped that ball to the side. Cedric Wilson turns the ball up, gets a touchdown.
Well, obviously, you can argue he has had the most arm talent ever, even beyond Mahomes' arm talent. I'll buy that.
But what's missing, Skip?
Intangibles. Thank you.
Things you cannot measure. You can measure his height, his size, his speed, his arm, how hard he can throw the ball. But there are certain things that cannot get measured. You can't measure leadership.
Nope. You cannot measure it, and he is at the bottom
devoid of it.
He is devoid of it. One reason he is now 1-4 in NFC championship games. Also a reason that since that long ago Super Bowl, he's 7-8 in postseason games. 7-8. He is below 500. It's leadership.
I think the NFL missed an opportunity to send a very strong message that we hold all our players to the same standard, to the same accountability, and not let quarterbacks. Skip, and people have already said, look how you make all the rules for the quarterback. We can't hit the quarterback. We can't do this to the quarterback. And the NFL's like, you're right. You see, we're only going to fine him $14,000. We're only going to give the Packers a slap on the wrist. You're right. Just confirm what the players and everybody around the league knows, that quarterbacks are treated differently. Well, this was your opportunity to send a very, very strong message that we're taking this serious.
So everybody in charge in Green Bay, in New York, holding breath all season long. Just hope he doesn't get COVID. Please no COVID. Please no COVID. And they all got busted. He got busted. The Packers got busted. The league got busted because nobody cracked down on what it should have been cracked down on.
Week 1.
Week 1.
Yep.
Thank you.
No mercy. Yes, Yesterday, Odell Beckham Jr. officially became a free agent after no team claimed the wide receiver on waivers. Several teams have reportedly had discussions about bringing in OBJ, who has made it clear he wants to join a playoff contender with an established quarterback. Yes, wouldn't we all? Shannon, on a scale of 1 to 10, how much impact will he have on his next team?
I'm going to give it an 8. Skip, I think the thing is that we're like, okay, if Odell does not be the Odell that he was in the Giants, he has no value to a team. I believe and it seems to me, leaning towards Packers, Kansas City, or probably vying here, Green Bay might be in the front. Mm-hmm. He's better than Lazard. He's better than Valdez-Scantling. He's better than Pringle. He's better than Robinson at Kansas City. So he comes to number 2. And sometimes, Skip, look at it like this. If Odell makes a key third down catch, if he makes a key play that helps you win a game in the playoff or helps you secure a better seeding in the regular season, he would have proven his value.
Yeah.
Because you can't look at it like, well, Odell ain't giving us 100 yards a game. He has no value. I look at it like myself, Skip. When I went to Baltimore, was I the same player? Maybe. But I realized I wasn't going to get the same opportunities. Well, Odell is not going to get the opportunity, Skip, as the number 2, maybe number 3 receiver that he got when he was at the New York Giants. So you can't expect the same numbers when I'm not getting the same number of targets. So now let's reshift this. Okay, if he's the number 2 receiver and where he was used to getting 10, 11, 12 targets at the Giants, now all of a sudden he's getting 5 and 6. I mean, how big an impact can he have? A first down, a key first down catch, a key run, a key catch. That will have value. You remember when James Harrison signed his last year, he would end up going to New England. Yep. And he made one play, strip sack, Jacksonville. It was worth it. Man, James, man, Debo ain't got nothing left. Coach Belichick signed him for one play. Yep. If he gives you one play that helps you get to a place that you probably wouldn't have got to without him, it's worth it.
I'm still not sure James gave him one play.
That was the one play, strip sack fumble.
Right, but then they got to the Super Bowl and
would they have gotten to the Super Bowl without that play?
You can argue. Okay, but you're just talking about one little play.
That's all we need.
Okay. I got to tell you, I know how much you like Odell, and the God's truth is I really like him personally. I've told you from the start. I like his heart. Not sure his head's always in the right place, but I do love his heart. I'm not talking about competitive heart, just off the field heart. I think he's basically a good young man.
Right, deep down, he's a good guy.
Deep down. Which is why I am starting to feel sorry for him, because he is becoming the most overhyped free agent in NFL history, given what the magnitude of, and I'm just going off internet reaction, overreaction. He has taken on Deion Sanders-like stature, God-like stature in 1994. And you remember what happened?
Yeah, Skip.
You remember
Reggie,
Deion.
You remember Reggie was the first big free agent. He's not Reggie White and Deion,
But
Skip.
Deion was literally the difference maker. He goes to San Francisco in 94, and they win the Super Bowl in large part because Deion was a 49er. And then he says, I'm free again. Jerry, you interested? Jerry says, how big a check do you want? I'll write you the biggest check. He and Steven almost came to fist fight blows over it. And finally, they just bit the bullet and they plunged on Deion. What happens the next year? They win the Super Bowl. Okay, is that what we're talking about here? Because I don't think so. And I've tried to detail for you in the past, and I'm going to do it one more time right here, right now. Injuries have sapped a lot of his electricity. And listen, his rookie year, you talk about electric. He led this league in yards per game, receiving yards per game. He was 109 receiving yards a game as a rookie. Right. And lest we forget that catch, can we see the catch on my Dallas Cowboys? That was a Sunday night. November,
was that used car that he beat?
November, Brandon used car. This is November 23rd of 2014 on a Sunday night, and he made that stab of a catch. Over his head.
I don't even know how he made it because he couldn't see the ball.
And then I don't know how he came down in bounds, but he pulled it off. And that detonated the Odell hysteria. Right? And all of a sudden, his pregame shows became even more watchable than his in-game
Right.
shows, right? Because everybody went to see Odell put on a Harlem Globetrotter-esque show in the pregame, right? Those kind of catches. And yet, from that moment forward, and by the way, bottom line to that game, would you believe that my Cowboys came back to win it 31-28?
Yeah.
We won the game.
Yeah.
So, but nobody could remember because that's all anybody wanted to talk about. I remember Chris Collinsworth live on TV. I know you turned the sound down, but he just went crazy. I believe Chris said that's the greatest catch I've ever seen, and that did it. Detonation.
It did, Skip. It did. That was a heck of a catch. Now, you got to give him that.
I do give him that. It's funny, though. It sort of spawned catch after catch after catch, and now my memory starts to blur because I've seen ones that are equal, or at least in the ballpark.
Everybody's making those catches.
Everybody's making those catches. So here we go. And later that year, he had a hip injury that was pretty serious that cost him games. And then we go to 2014. No, I'm sorry.
He missed the first 4 games with a hamstring.
Yeah, right, hamstring, and it was a tear, hamstring tear. And then he injured his thumb in 2016, and then 2017 he had the ankle fracture on top of a turned ankle. And then he had a quad injury in 2018, and then he had a groin pull in 2019 that sent him to IR. These are all over the body. Now, we're not just isolating one part of the body. Then in 2020, he had a toe injury, which led to an ACL tear at Cincinnati, and that's when I told you Baker and company took off. And then even this year, he was fighting all year with an AC joint sprain in his shoulder. It's one thing after another after another. He has gotten beaten up, and he just turned 29 years of age, so he's not a young pup anymore.
Yeah, but he's still under 30.
Okay, he's still under 30, but I got to tell you, he has taken a beating. And he's also taken an emotional beating from all the controversy he's been involved in. And the pressure is mounting on him because I think you and I agree on only one point. This next stop is a big stop for him. Because if he fails here, man, you just wonder what the rest of his fate will be in the National Football League.
I think the thing is, Skip, and we're both in agreement on this, he needs to go somewhere with a strong quarterback. Green Bay, Kansas City. Strong head coaches, Kansas City. Matt LaFleur is thought of well, and around the league, he's thought highly of. So you look at that, Skip. Now, you have to understand, now, he's a receiver. He plays a dependent position. So how many opportunities are you going to give him? Are you going to give him opportunities like Tom Brady gave Randy Moss? Because remember what people said about Randy Moss when he was in Oakland. It's over. He done. When he went somewhere where he respected the quarterback, the head coach was no question the voice of that team, and Randy Moss broke records.
He did, but I hate it. Randy went off the other night on ESPN saying, this is why you need to sign him. Look what I did in 2007. And I hated that Randy said it for Odell's sake because now everybody's thinking, oh, Randy Moss is on the market again. Do you want to go sign? Everybody's got to line up to sign Randy Moss.
But Skip, what you got to realize, at the time, nobody was lining up to sign a Randy.
Nobody was, because I was very close to that situation in Oakland, because I was very close with Al Davis, and trust me, Al was down and out. And what did he give him away for? Is it a fourth round?
Third or fourth rounder, Skip.
A fourth rounder.
And that's Randy Moss.
It's all-time steal.
Yeah, and we know what Randy was in Minnesota, but he went to a place that didn't have...
And to your point, the quarterback took him under his wing and said, this is how we do it here. And Randy said, okay, let's go. And records fell. Okay, so I got that. But speaking of falling, if you look at yards per game, receiving yards per game, as I told you, 109 as a rookie, this year it fell all the way to 39. And that's 4 straight years his yards per game have tumbled. And 3 times in a row, the last 3 years, he's had career lows in yards per game. I'm talking about receiving yards per game.
What did you say?
Okay, so we're just going south and south and south. And then we get down to the ultimate issue. Was it Odell's fault or Baker's fault? Well, I saw a stat, your favorite website, Pro Football Focus, yesterday. And this is about a 4th level stat. But it said that when Baker Mayfield gets rid of the ball in 2.5 seconds or less, his stats all rank in the top 5 in the league among quarterbacks. Well, that was my issue all along with Baker and Odell. He's doing this, you know, and if you do this, like, I got to get it to Odell. I got to wait for him to come open, or is he running the route? I thought, because it's come out that Odell would sometimes just run Odell's routes, you know, if he didn't like the feel of one.
Well, that's where he needs to go, Skip.
Yeah.
What was the problem with Ocho Cinco?
Yep.
He couldn't freelance anymore. In Cincinnati, he could freelance.
Could he? Ooh.
He got to New England, and he couldn't freelance, and he looked like a shell of himself.
He did. Okay.
Okay, Odell now is going somewhere where the quarterback is going to demand. If we say a 10 roll to 12, it's 10 roll to 12.
Okay. And too many times Baker is doing this, the double pump, and he's either getting sacked or he's throwing a ball into coverage that you just can't force it into. And to me, the detonation came lately when even your man LeBron tweets, free Odell, hashtag free Odell. And I kept saying, well, maybe it's free Baker. It's free both of them from each other. For whatever reason, it never did click. They were very close off the field. And I think Baker's very hurt because he continues to say, I still haven't heard from Odell. And I thought they were close enough that Odell would call him and just try to clear the air.
I ain't calling you. You ruined my career, man.
Okay. All right, so that's what it was.
Them ambulance balls.
Okay, well, and obviously Odell's father then I guess he reposted something that
some video that was out. He reposted.
It showed all of the times Odell was open, that Baker didn't see him or missed him, and it soured to the point that it was do not invite them, where they don't even speak anymore. And I think it's going to be a long time before they have any conversation.
Hey, look, after a couple of months go by, maybe this offseason, I pick up the phone and give you a shot. Right now, Skip, I'm hurt.
Okay, so my lingering memories of Odell in Cleveland are these, and I've shown them before. I'm going to show them one more time because he is hitting the market as we speak. And there are 2 4th down plays. This is against the Chargers in a very close game. And he just hits Odell right in the hands. And for whatever reason, it had gone so bad, he just dropped it. And here's late in the Arizona game, they were trying to climb back into it. This is another 4th down. And he hits him right in the hands, and maybe he shied a little bit from a little punishment, and he dropped it. And then this is the ball that just drove me crazy. This is to win the game at Pittsburgh, and I still think that was a good throw. And all you get from your man Odell is a little wave. I'll wave at it, but I'm not going to take any punishment because his body is battered. You can't expect him to go get that ball that in the pregame warm-ups, he catches that ball in his teeth.
Yeah, I think the thing is, Skip, also, when you used to getting the ball, then all of a sudden you don't. You start to press. Those drops that we have is because Odell hadn't gotten the ball, and he's pressing, and he's thinking about what he's going to do when he gets the ball, before he even gets the ball. Like, man, I'm about to turn this up because I don't know when I'm going to get another one, as opposed to just catching the football. At that point in time, Skip, on that 4th down catch, it's more important to catch the ball and get the first than you thinking about yards after the catch. Sometimes it's just catch the ball, fall down, I got a first down, we're on the field, we keep a drive alive. I think a lot of times, having been a receiver, I know how it is, Skip, they're like, okay, we're going to spread it around, they got all these things, oh yeah, we're going to come to you early, here it is first quarter, I ain't got a ball thrown my way. Here I'm at the half, I'm looking around, hey, we going to come to you. 3rd quarter, I ain't got a ball. Now, 4th quarter, 84, what can you get open on? What you mean, what can I get open on? Hell, I've been open all day. Okay. Now you want me...
And now you get a pass thrown to you, and you're like, I got to.
Exactly, Skip. And next thing you know, I was like, damn. And so now they're thinking, well, that's why we haven't been throwing you the ball, because you dropped it. Not thinking about, well, you just threw me one ball in the 4th quarter, and you want me to, all of a sudden, I done gone this whole. Imagine if Michael Jordan with 3 quarters, Skip, didn't take a shot. And say, Michael, would you it'll game winner for us? Come on, man, you got to get a rhythm.
Fair point. I agree. But I'm going to do Odell a favor here. I'm going to say on impact scale 1 to 10, I'm going to say he'll be no more than a 3 because I'm going to try to take a little pressure off this still young man, still sub-30-year-old.
He can handle it.
Well, he's going to have a world of pressure, and he is not a world-changing player anymore. He will not change anybody's life. I don't care what you say. He's not what he used to be, and nobody can accept that. And I'm calling it first, and I'm going to dig in over here and tell you he ain't Odell. He's not that guy.
You're going to be sorry.
Okay.
Because he mess around and goes to Green Bay. And they play your Cowboys. You're going to be really sorry.
He has never really haunted my Cowboys except on that one rainy night up in New York. He did catch that breakaway.
Hit that slant on y'all and went to the house.
That was the whole game.
He still got it.
It rained all night. It was cold and rainy, and he got loose for one play, and it was a one-play game.
That's it. That's like,
your man Jackrabbit, he shut him down and locked him up. Locked him up.
What'd you just say? You said it was a one-play game.
Yep.
So if OBJ give us that one play, in a playoff game, it was worth the signing.
A long time ago. And by the way, I'm glad you brought up playoff games because Odell has played in one in his life. And before that game, speaking of intangibles and lack of leadership,
man, go ahead.
He led his group of receivers south from they had played their final regular season game in Washington. And he said, I think let's all go down for the off day to South Beach.
The man was young. He
to
made
South Beach.
The man made a mistake.
Let's let Trey Songz post a picture of all of us on the yacht in Biscayne Bay to get ready for a playoff game on the frozen tundra of Lambeau Field.
What do you know about Trey Songz anyway?
Okay, well, I'm just saying, I know Trey Songz. Had him on the show back in the day.
Skip, that was a long time ago. Okay. The man was young. Skip, he was what, 22?
Okay, and then what did he do? He goes up there pressing because he knows the weight of the world. He has put it on his shoulders. And the first third down of the game, Eli came out like playoff Eli. Yeah, and he throws it right to him on 3rd and 7, hits him right in the hands, and he dropped it. And later in that drive, he hits him in the back of the end zone right in the hands, and he dropped it. And what did Odell do? As he's walking up the tunnel of hallowed Lambeau Field, he takes his helmet after the game was over, and they get crushed. I think it was in the outside before they turned the corner into the locker room. He took his helmet and just bashed the wall in, just knocked a big old hole in the wall, right?
I mean, he's frustrated, Skip, because the thing is, when you do things like that people are going to be looking, because and that's just the way it is. That's the nature of the beast. Michael Jordan going to the casino the night before a playoff game, Michael Jordan dropped 35, dropped 40. So that's okay. Michael knew he couldn't play bad, so Odell knew the pressure, the weight that was on him.
This was his first ever playoff game. Mike didn't go to the casino before his first ever playoff game. Not before his first
he was golfing with Danny Ainge and them.
Not before his first ever game. That's not right. That is not right. He golfed later with Danny Ainge.
Why he golfing?
I hate using golf as a verb. If you say that, you don't play golf, and you don't play golf.
I don't.
He played golf with Danny Ainge.
He went golfing.
Went golfing. I hate that. That's my pet peeve.
So in other words, you saying
golfing?
So when you say that, so are you saying golf is not a sport?
No, I'm saying it's a sport.
Or is it an activity?
You play golf.
Okay.
You don't golf.
Well, Odell went to Miami.
Yeah. Do the Lakers just basketball, or do they play basketball?
We play basketball.
They were basketballing. Are they going to basketball tonight or not? I don't know.
They're going to basketball. Yeah, we'll see how well they basketball. That really is the question. The Lakers will have one of their tougher tests of the young season when they face the Heat tonight. LA is coming off a big overtime win on Monday night, while Miami just got blown out by Denver. But the purple and gold are still 4.5-point underdogs. Shannon, how surprised are you that the Lakers are such big home underdogs when they
I'm not surprised at all, Skip, given the fact that there's no LeBron and considering how poorly the Lakers have played, basically, in really all their games. All their games have been really, really close, and they've lost some games to some really bad teams. And so for me, I'm not surprised because I believe when it's all said and done, Miami is going to be very, very tough to beat in the Eastern Conference. They're loaded. They got Jimmy Buckets, Bam Adebayo. They can play defense with Kyle Lowry and P.J. Tucker. They got Tyler Hero coming off the bench and Dedmon coming off the bench. They got Enforcer and Morris. Duncan Robinson just roams around the perimeter looking to let threes off. So, Skip, they're a good team. And
although Markieff can't go tonight. He's got whiplash from we're going to talk about the Jokic suspension, but they said he's got a whiplash-type injury to his neck.
He could probably come out there with a brace on.
But hope he's okay.
You look at Miami, they're first in the East. They're third in offensive rating, sixth in defensive rating.
Yep.
So they're really good. I don't expect Kyle Lowry, you and I were joking about it yesterday, I don't expect them to be over. Scored 0 points in 30-plus minutes. I don't expect that to happen tonight because if I remember last time, if my memory serves me correctly, when he played the Lakers and the trade rumors were circulating, he lit them up.
He did.
Everybody likes shooting in our building, so hopefully Carmelo can keep shooting. So, but Skip, for me, I don't have a problem with this. I'm not surprised that they're 4-point favorites, and considering that we got a guy that sometimes plays with the other teams, even though he's dressed in purple and gold.
Oh, that guy.
Yeah. So I'm not surprised at all.
But speaking of that guy, Wes Brick, he's a cinch first ballot Hall of Famer, I believe you think, right? Yeah. Is there any doubt about that? Can he undo that as a Laker? I don't know
how you not, Skip. He's a member of the 75th anniversary team. He's one of the 75 greatest players.
Okay. Is Anthony Davis a top 5 player? Because that's what you always tell me, right?
Well, he's playing top like 5? It now. I mean, what, 28 and 12 right now?
Well, he's 24 and
24.
11.
Okay.
I mean, but lately he's come alive.
He's been a monster.
No,
and he
I
had
agree.
5 blocks,
And there have
3
been
steals.
times when I hear you talk across the table, and I think you're making the case that he's slightly more valuable because he's younger than LeBron is at this stage and age of LeBron's
Well, he's
career.
playing right now, so the value is
Okay,
always.
well,
on the
I got
court.
it. Okay, so you consider him top 5, okay? And with Westbrook, and then there's Carmelo Anthony, who is making 64% of his threes at Staples. Think about that. That's unheard of, uncharted territory, unfathomable.
Right.
64% of his threes at home. He's averaging 21 points a game at home. That's 6th man of the year kind of stuff,
Yes,
right?
yes.
Isn't he, at least in the early conversation?
Absolutely, yes.
Okay. So this is the hottest he's ever shot the basketball, right? You can have Denver, you can have Knicks.
Oh, yeah.
He's never been hotter than he is now. I can make a case of all the basketball I watch, and I just watch it like crazy every night. He's the hottest shooter in the league at this moment.
Right.
The hottest three-point shooter. It's not Steph. It's not, Dame or whoever else you want to talk about.
Trae Young, the normal cast of characters that we would think with great three-point shooting.
Right.
Melo shooting the ball at a high percentage. As a matter of fact, Skip, he's shooting a higher percentage from the field than at any point in time in his career.
Okay. Is Melo a Hall of Famer?
Yeah.
I'm pretty sure he is.
Absolutely.
Okay. Which brings me to another guy that you say is a slam dunk Hall of Famer, and that's Dwight Howard.
Right.
And he's still playing at a pretty high level.
Yeah.
He only plays 14 minutes, but he wreaks havoc for
Right.
14 minutes. So you have a Hall of Famer, you have 2 Hall of Famers coming off the bench. You have 2 future Hall of Famers in your starting lineup. One of those, a current top 5 player.
Yeah.
And the other has averaged a triple-double for the last 5 seasons. And by the way, speaking of Russell Westbrook, he's now averaging 18, 9, and 9. So he's on course. He just might do it again.
Yeah.
He might average a triple-double for your Lakers.
But here's the thing, though, Skip. You're missing the king. So let me ask you a question. Let's just say, for the sake of argument, the Rams come to town, and they still have Mike Evans, Chris Godwin, Antonio Brown.
The Bucks? You mean?
The Bucks.
Yeah,
The
yeah.
Bucks. Mm-hmm. But there's no Tom Brady. Mm-hmm. Who do you think is going to be favored in that game?
Okay, but obviously Tom Brady's position is more valuable than LeBron's position.
He ain't more valuable than LeBron.
Yes, he is.
He ain't.
He's won 7 Super Bowls,
I don't
6 of them
care.
with fourth-quarter game-winning drives.
And my guy,
fourth-quarter
look at-
overtime. He's got 4 and he's lost 6 finals. Don't go there. I'm sorry.
Skip, all I'm saying is, let me ask you a question. If LeBron is playing, do you believe the Heat would be favored? Yes or no?
I believe it would be a pick'em type game because the Heat are off to a very good start until just lately. And I want to put this in perspective. You realize that the Heat 2 games back lost at home to a Celtics team that looked like it was in disarray. And all of a sudden they came together at Orlando, and then they go to Miami next night and they win 95-78. Mm-hmm. So Kyle Lowry's team, Jimmy Bucket's team at home, scored only 78 points and lost 95-78. Mm-hmm. Are you kidding me? And then they did beat Utah. That was a quality win at home. But then just the other night, they go to Denver and they get blown out 113-96. So 2 of the last 3 games, they haven't looked like the best team in the East, right?
Yeah.
Even though their record is now tied with the Bulls and, believe it or not, the Wizards for the top of the East at 7-3. But they have lost 2 of their last 3 games.
Montrez balling.
Well, is he?
Yeah.
Kuzma balling?
No. Montrez, because he's playing like he played when he was with the Clippers, like 30, 32 minutes a game.
So would you like to rescind that trade and send Russ back and get those players back?
No, I want to rescind the trade and go get Buddy Hield.
Okay, well, there you go.
But I want to keep Trez. I think we could have kept Trez.
Okay, so obviously this all comes down to one player and one player only. The reason the Miami Heat are 4.5-point favorites is because of Westbrook. And he is a cinch first ballot Hall of Famer. He's almost averaging a triple-double, but he is leading the league in turnovers.
Yes.
And he's shooting 25.6% from 3, which ranks 147 of 157 players. It's abysmal. He is the worst superstar jump shooter I have ever seen, and it ain't close.
Yes.
And his free throw shooting isn't much better at 64.2%. And his, even from the field shooting, which should be somewhere around 50, is down at 41%. That ranks 135th of 136 players.
Skip, even if he was like, let's just say he was like 47%, I think that's a good field goal percentage for a guard. I think Steph probably around 48%, but Steph percentage would be a lot higher if he wasn't shooting the amount of threes that he shoot. But I think a good guard, if he can shoot 47%, I think Kobe's around 47.
Okay.
Something like that.
So I would like to demonstrate for our faithful viewers exactly why the Heat are 4.5-point favorites. Could we see the 5 turnovers just in the fourth quarter the other night?
Yeah, why you do this, man?
These are the 5 turnovers just in the fourth quarter. Russ, Russ, hang on to the basketball. You just dribbled on the out-of-bounds line.
No, he went back court.
Oh, I think he dribbled on the out-of-bounds. No, I think there's another back court. But that time he just dribbles it off his foot out of bounds. Russ, this is...
He going to throw this one and hit Sean. Hit Sean right in the chest.
No, he threw it such a bad pass that it was already out of bounds. Russ, don't do this. Have a plan. He had no plan. He had no idea where he was going with the basketball. Those are the 5 turnovers. Could we also see, just for our viewers' edification, the 10 missed shots the last game? 10 missed shots. Remember, they had a 14-point lead in the fourth quarter of this game, but he ends up missing 10 shots. Ooh. Well, that's like a LeBrick, except it's a Russ brick.
Stop it.
Yeah. Russ, you were actually covered there, and you missed everything long. Russ, no. He's not even making the shots at the rim anymore. Whoops. West Brick, he is left-handed, but he couldn't get it up on the rim. Russ, no.
Well, he might need to start shooting left-handed because the right-handed sure ain't
Here's a dare you. Here's a dare you shot, and it's just a little short. Russ, we dare you to shoot that, and it's almost an air ball. Russ, we pretty much dare you to shoot that. He tried to go glass because that's his shot. That's his safety valve, right? And he missed it. So there are 10 misses and 5 turnovers in the fourth quarter as they blow a 14-point lead and went to overtime. And then Russ had the audacity after the game to defend himself because he got involved in a little altercation. He and Melo, it was just bizarre. And Russ got into it with the referee, and
somebody he was treated talking to him like a child. Well, you were acting like a child.
Yeah,
the referee skipped. The ref said, "Okay, Russ, that's enough." But Russ is the kid, keep trying to explain.
Yeah,
that's enough, bro.
So he gets a technical, and all this contributed to the comeback.
Yes, because you gave up 5 points on 1 possession. With the clock stopped, I might add.
And when Russ was second-guessed about this by a media member after the game, his reaction was, "Who won?" Well, yeah, you won the game finally, but you had a 14-point lead, and then with 5 minutes left, you had a 9-point lead.
Right.
Really?
Well, Skip, we saw this the other day when they asked him what happened when he threw the ball away, and he told the reporter, "You watched the game, you saw what happened." Now I want you to explain it. You out there. What were you thinking? Don't worry about what I saw. I know what I saw. I saw you try to play hero. That's what I saw. I saw you had Carmelo Anthony, who was ghost pepper hot.
Yep.
And I saw you try to Euro step over
correct.
4 guys and throw the ball out of bounds. That's what I saw. Now I want you to explain it to me in your terms. I know what I saw.
This is all a product of what the Oklahoma City Thunder early on let Russ get away with in his post-game interviews because they protected him. They shamed media members. They let him shame them. They let him be scathing in his responses and rebukes of media members to their face.
Right.
And after a while, it just had no class to it to me. He was not taught to have any class in the way you treat people with some respect.
Right.
Because he's a superstar, and once he started averaging triple-doubles, it was over.
Right.
He could do whatever he wanted to do. This is a new town, and even though it's his town, it's a different stage. You can't get away with that kind of behavior or misbehavior on the Lakers stage.
And KD once averaged 32 points in a season?
Yeah.
Playing with a guy that averaged about 5 turnovers? God.
Yeah. See, KD, that makes his best player on the planet case even stronger.
Man, KD held him by 2 more MVPs.
That is true. It's why I told you he left because of this guy. He said, I just can't do it with this guy because he gets to bring the ball up.
And think about it, Skip. As great as Kevin Durant is, he couldn't. In his prime, I'm talking about, he's still in his prime, but you're talking about Kevin Durant from all the way to year 10.
Yep. So to me, Russ had one decent game, and it was at San Antonio against what's left of my Spurs, because he did play pretty well down the stretch to the point that I thought he was able to close that game.
Right.
And he followed it up the next night with his worst game by far, because he went triple-double in his return to Oklahoma City with quadruple, with a 10 at the end of the stat line in turnovers.
Right.
And here we went, and he hasn't been the same since.
And that come from behind loss against another one, the 19-point lead. He turned the ball over. Well, that was the one he tried the Euro step over the top.
Okay. So now he's just unhinged without LeBron in the starting lineup, because now it's his town, his team. He is the point guard, and he turns it over 5 times against a young Charlotte team at home and nearly blew the game.
Yeah, he did. And I need Ronda, I need you to be more composed. Don't hit nobody side the head, because, bro, if you lead the game, we don't really have anybody to play the point but him. And the thing that we least need is him playing 37, 40 minutes at the point. Need like 30 tops.
So here come the Heat with Kyle Lowry, who's only averaging 10, 5, and 7 assists. 7 assists, pretty good.
Right.
But he's not lighting it up scoring the basketball, because he leaves that to Jimmy Buckets, who's averaging 25 and 6. Bam is 18 and 12 rebounds. Tyler Hero's 20 points a game. He comes in and just shoots the lights out.
He coming in.
So tonight boils down to me to Melo versus Tyler Hero. Who will have the hotter hand, right? So are you predicting that the Heat will win this game?
I ain't picking against the Lakers, but I understand why Fox Bet and others have installed the Heat as a favorite.
You just covered your mouth when you said, I'm not picking against the Lakers, like a play caller on the sideline. I'm not going to let the world see that I'm going to say I'm not picking against the Lakers.
How about this? I don't feel I'm not as confident. I'm not my brash self when I talk about it. Like, you know, I hold the Lakers in high regard. Now, we had to go. Yeah, and I'll be willing to give you those 4 points. I'll be willing to give you points if we had gold.
Really?
Yep. But he's going to be back.
I'll take the Heat for a case.
No? Give me the 4 points.
That's a lot of points for 4 Hall of Famers.
You just said call the man Westbrook, and the reason why they were favorite.
I've been calling him that for like 10 years.
and you said that's the reason why they're 4.5-point favorite. So give me that. He's still on my team.
I actually think you should play pretty well tonight, but just because I'm so far ahead and just for our own entertainment here on the show, I will give you the 4.5 points.
I don't want it.
You don't want it?
What?
I knew it.
I knew it.
I called your hand.
You asked for it.
And you folded.
I did.
You folded.
And you know what? I know you got a strong hand. You try to lead me into a trap. No, sir.
Fine. All right. Okay, we got an hour and a half on the show.
Love it.
Possibly by the end of this thing, maybe Shannon will change his mind. Maybe. I'm not confident either.
No mercy.
The Cowboys are set to host the Falcons this Sunday on Fox. And Dallas was blown out by Denver last weekend, down 30-0 at one point, while Atlanta had a big last-second win over New Orleans. And still, the Cowboys were a hefty 9-point favorite earlier this week, although that number has now come down to 8.5. So something there. Shannon, are you surprised they're still that big of a favorite?
I'm not, because, Skip, I believe Vegas and Fox Bet believes that this was an aberration for both teams, that there's no possible way that the Cowboys will play as bad this week as they did last week. And there's no possible way that the Atlanta Falcons will play as good this week as they did last week. So they believe both teams will revert back to who they really are. The Falcons defense, 28th in scoring, averaging 27.5 points a game. The 24th in run defense, 27th in takeaways, only 7 takeaways all year. We know what the Cowboys offense were before they entered this game against the Cowboys. I think Michael Gallup's coming back this week.
Yes.
So they believe that the Cowboys will get back on track and they will be able to do a lot of the things that they had done in the previous games, even in the loss against the Bucks, Skip. They didn't run it well, but they threw the ball exceptionally well. So they believe that the Cowboys will get back to that. This will be the real Cowboys. The Falcons will revert back to who they were. This will be the real Falcons, and we'll see this. I think I would have said, I wouldn't have put it this big. I would have said at least, I would probably said 6.5, just to make sure, because Vegas always trying to win. Either they win or lose, and they ain't trying to push no money. So I would have said 6.5. But 9, Jenny said 8.5. It was at 9 at one point in time.
9.
Yeah.
Yep.
So that's an awful lot of points.
Okay, so you're saying you are surprised that it opened at 9.
I would have said 6. I would have said 6.5. But Skip, look, when I look at the Falcons, I was shocked. I don't know. I'm equally as shocked that the Falcons, given what the Saints had done to Tampa just the week before, I'm just as equally as shocked that Broncos beat the Cowboys that bad as I am what the Falcons did to the Saints.
Totally agree. I was shocked by that. I might even be more shocked by Falcons over Saints after what the Saints just did to the Goats.
Right. So, and they were like, hold on, is it? And you said this. Did they play their Super Bowl? Did they get so high to beat the Bucs and then underestimate the Falcons? Because the Falcons are a division opponent. They are. Just like the Bucs are. Yep. So it can't say, well, they got up for the Bucs and they don't see the Bucs but once every 2 or 3 years. No, they play the Bucs twice a year. Played them 3 times last year. So, Skip, I think the thing is that Vegas believes that if these teams played their best football, the Cowboys are 8.5 points better than the Falcons.
Okay. I got to call a quick timeout here.
Okay.
Because I got to call you on what you've been doing to me all week very long.
What have I been doing?
It's been a long week.
What have I been doing?
You have been ridiculing my Cowboys, that they got exposed, that I've been trying to tell you that defense is way overrated.
Coach Fangio said that. Coach Fangio said he addressed
Coach Fangio, the new Belichick in this league, is saying he provided the blueprint, that he exposed the Dallas Cowboys for what they really were, that he showed you exactly how to take them completely apart.
Yes.
And he said, I don't know, maybe they'll score 35 a game from here on because I'm not coaching against them. But when I coached against them, we shut them down. It was 30-0 in the fourth quarter at Jerry World. It was 30-0. 30-0.
Yes.
Dak Prescott had 79 yards passing after 3 quarters. That's impossible. And to quote the great Jerry Jones, I don't think any of us thought we'd come out of there without a victory on Sunday. And he called it internally overconfident. Well, how about externally overconfident? Because of all the games on the schedule, it was between this and the Falcons as the gimme, right? Except I told you on Friday, I do have respect for Fangio's defense because it was second in the league in points allowed.
Well, you started feeling good because early in the year, you said the Broncos might, because the Broncos, you started looking at defense, you like Patrick Surtain, you like, I don't know, that might be a tough game for my Cowboys. And then your Cowboys started taking off and you that's an easy win for us.
I told you that I trusted my Cowboys to at least be in every game they played. I thought even if they lose, it will go to the wire.
Right.
And I thought
this did go to the wire.
The wire hit them right in the throat. Right? They ran under the wire and it just knocked them on their back.
Yes.
Okay. So my issue here is you have been all over this team, and now you're saying that it was a blip and not a trend. But you told me all week that it was a trend, that the defense is going to be a problem all year.
Yes, but Skip, here's the thing. Yes, their defense, but let me ask you a question. Do you believe the Falcons' defense is comparable to the Broncos' defense?
No, but the Dallas defense is comparable to the Falcons' defense, according to the Hall of Famer Shannon Sharpe, who lives in Atlanta, GA, in his off time, right?
Yes.
Still has a home there.
I do.
Okay, so that's the equalizer on the field for this game. And so it's horrifying to me that I was dumbfounded by this point spread. When I saw it on Sunday night, 9, I thought it was a misprint.
Right.
It can't be 9 because they just won at the Saints.
Right.
That's one of the great wins of the year, one of the big upsets of the year. It's right up there with Jacksonville 9, Buffalo 6, right? And yet Matt Ryan, he might not be Matty Ice anymore. Maybe he's more Matty Nice now. but again, he's not chopped liver.
Oh, no,
right?
he can throw it now. Oh, yeah, he can still throw it.
And does he not have that guy that we both love from Florida named Kyle Pitts? Does he not have him to throw to? Calvin Ridley and
Ridley. Okay. He's out.
He's out.
But they got Zacchaeus. Okay. They got some nice little weapons.
Zacchaeus has been lighting people up, right?
Gage.
Yeah. Okay. So do they not have enough firepower to cause problems?
Yeah.
Okay. I'm going to remind everybody that just a little more than a year ago, at Jerry World, against some of this same defense, your Atlanta Falcons were ahead 29-10 at halftime. They were ahead 39-24 mid-fourth quarter.
Right.
And they managed to blow the lead and wind up failing to cover an onside kick that was called a watermelon kick because the kick was kicked flat off the ground with no tee. And it
just spun around and
whirligigs around. and a bunch of Falcons just stood and watched it swirl on the carpet.
They're like, man, that's really neat. Look at the ball spinning.
Right.
Jump on it!
Yeah, until Goodwin just jumped on it and like it was a live grenade. And that was the end of that.
Right.
And then Dak hit CeeDee Lamb and walk off, and here we go.
Yeah.
Right?
You got the 2 point.
Yeah.
Because you hit him and got the 2, because you went for 2 both times.
Okay.
So touchdown.
So my point is the Falcons are 4-4, but they have won,
beat the Giants.
Okay,
the Giants
they have won 3 of their last 4. So they've beaten the Giants and the Jets. That was in London. They won at Miami and they won at New Orleans. And they won at the Giants. So they've actually won all 4 of their wins away from home.
Right.
Are they dangerous? Yes, they're dangerous. So I keep telling you that I still believe in my team. I believe that this is a crucial game, a turning point in the season game, because are you men or are you mice? Because last week McCarthy kept saying, don't take the cheese, as in the cheese in the mice trap or the mouse trap, right?
Well, yeah, that's what you've been feeding them. You've been getting them fat.
Yeah.
Skip Bayless and others like Skip Bayless have been telling the Cowboys how great they are.
I own that.
And Jerry and Steven and others have said this team reminds me of those Super Bowl winning teams. So I need y'all to have some culpability in this also. You've been feeding them this line. And guess what?
Even from the top, our man Troy Aikman has been saying, I'm seeing something that's real. It's different.
Yes.
It could be special. I agree. Yet now, what always happens to this team? Mike McCarthy can't motivate this team. Old drop the Mike McCarthy, right? So I told you before the year you have to win in spite of him. Well, who's the ultimate motivator of this team? You could say Dak Prescott, but he had his worst game in his career on Sunday.
Yeah.
So it's hard for him to motivate this team. The media, it needs external motivation. So I'm just hoping that all week long, all of my players have to hear, really? We're not sure you are who we thought you were,
but
right?
Skip, this is an offensive-based team. When Dak plays like that defense is not suffocating. That secondary is not as good. Trevon Diggs takes a lot of chances. And I've been saying this. I said, I'm double moving him to start the game just to plant that seed. Because I know if I plant that seed, at some point in time, it's going to bear fruit. That's why I planted it.
They did.
And what did they do? They got him in the Patriots. Double moved him. If you don't double move this kid, Skip, he's going to sit in the chair and he's not going anywhere. So you plant that seed just to make him think, because I know it'll bear fruit some point in time, especially if he knocks one down. He's like, oh, I should have had that one.
Okay.
I need to jump a little quicker.
But he was the front runner for Defensive Player of the Year because he was jumping successfully a lot of routes.
Exactly. And I said, either people are going to start going away from him, or they'll start double moving it. And then the Brown on the other side, they hit Hinton. They come with a zero blitz. They hit Hinton on a slant. And that basically ended the game right there. Teddy Bridgewater threw it perfectly.
Okay, so what did I tell you about my defense? What I love the most about the defense this year under Dan Quinn, the former Falcons coach, who suffered that ignominious comeback loss last year, 40-39, it tackles and it stops the run because they were 6th in the league. Okay, they came in 6th in the league, stopping the run, averaging, giving up only 88 yards a game. They gave up 190.
Yeah.
190?
Yeah, we did that.
That's all about want to, desire, effort, focus.
Yeah.
It's just intangibles because I know they're capable of it. So I think they're going to get shamed all week by the media as opposed to a week ago. And I think they will rise and shine again and show you who they really were. Yet you're telling me that on one side of your mouth, you're saying, well, they got exposed. But now you're saying, well, it was just a blip.
No, Skip. I think the thing is what got exposed is that what I've been saying, I don't believe believe your defense is exactly what the stats said. Now, and I told you this, I said, Skip, what happens if you don't get pick sixes, if you don't force 3-4 turnovers? Is your defense that stout? I said, I don't believe it is. Your team is offensive based. They put so much pressure on you to match them that you take unnecessary risk. I don't believe Dak's going to play this bad. I don't believe Dak's going to have 79 yards through 3 quarters, and they're going to rush the ball for 4. Have basically 100. And they didn't even. They only had like 150 yards. Skip through 3 quarters.
Number 1 offense in pro football.
Yeah.
Most explosive offense in pro football.
So I don't believe that's going to be the case this week, because I believe the Cowboys offense will get back on track, which if they get on track now, the defense is because here's the thing, what did they do? They had to play 41 minutes. That defense is not built to play 41 minutes. They're built to play 32 or less minutes.
Well, what they're built to do is the offense is going to score 35, and they can hold you to 28 or whatever.
But score 35 how? We get 12. We get 13, 14 play drives.
Yep.
So now that defense is that's a small defense, Skip. They're undersized. So now we fly around to the ball. That's what Dan Quinn likes. If you look at his Seattle's defensive, Skip, undersized, but they fly around. They can dominate time of possession with beast mode. Russell Wilson's gonna keep drives alive with scrambling. That's how Dallas wants to play. Now, obviously, Dak's not gonna scramble. He doesn't have the mobility that Russ has. But run the ball with Zeke. Run the ball with Pollard. Dak can steal your first down here or there.
Okay, so now I believe that Shannon Sharpe is admitting on live national TV that my Cowboys are what we thought they were, what I said they were. They are a Super Bowl contender, says Shannon Sharpe.
Not with that deep. Well, hold on. Are your offense going to score 35 every game?
Sure.
Okay.
Yeah.
Well, then
why not?
You got a possibility.
Yeah. I mean, we have to have the football to score 35, right?
Okay. So you got to put your defense on the field at some time, Skip.
So right now, if you were a betting man, you would give the 9. You say they would cover the 9 points, right?
Yeah, I would.
Would you?
Yeah.
Okay, so you were surprised that it was that high, but you're also saying, nah, this team is legit. You are saying we are legit, correct?
No.
Yes, you are.
But here's the thing, Skip. If you look at, let's look at, okay, you talking about they can make a deep playoff run. Let's go Rams, let's go Bucks, let's go Packers. Let's just look at those 3, Arizona. The question is, can your defense hold those guys? All those teams are top, notwithstanding last week, all those teams are probably top 10, if not top 5 in scoring.
Okay, coming into this last Sunday's game, I thought Micah Parsons wasn't just the defensive rookie of the year. I thought he was in the conversation for defensive player of the year.
Yeah.
And by the way, there was one bright spot on Sunday. Micah had 2.5 sacks, and I thought he played very well. I can also make a case if we had the coach's tape and we broke it down against the run, he was probably pretty bad against the run because he's a little light in the back end.
Well, I think the thing is, Skip, when you play like he does, when you reckless, when you just attack the football, sometimes you play yourself out of position and you overrun things or you take false steps because he has that kind of ability to make up for it. But my thing is, Skip, your defense is going to weigh heavily. I believe if you guys don't get to where you need to be or want to be, I believe your defense will be the reason why. I don't believe it will be your offense because you're going to get Ty Smith back. At some point, I do believe.
Yeah, and that was a big loss on Sunday. That was a bad idea, to try to move Terrence Steele to left tackle.
But Lyle Collins can't play that position. He has less.
Yeah, but that Ty Nsekhe that they signed, he's not bad. He's had some spurts at left tackle where he's pretty good. You got to do that.
I keep telling you, your best offensive lineman is Zach Martin. Your most important offensive lineman is that left tackle.
I buy that. So in the end, you asked me, are they a contender? My eyes were telling me, my gut was telling me, maybe my heart was telling me going into last Sunday, they can play with anybody in the NFC because they just felt different to me. And then that happened.
Well, I heard you was a little under the weather, so you might have been taking some medicine and felt drowsy. Yeah. That's why your eyes got heavy.
Okay. Well, I got gobsmacked. I got blindsided.
30-0.
Yeah, I did not see that coming, and I still can't quite get comfortable with it, but I still believe in my team, and I say they will bounce back and take care of business instead of letting business take care of them.
So, in other words, they're going to cover the 9?
Yep, they will cover the 9. I think they will explode on the Falcons. You just told me you surprised that they okay, well, I'm hanging in with my team. I'm hanging in. I've been bullish the whole year, and I'm not going to back off. You're the one who said they got exposed.
I just tell you defense.
Okay, well,
it's not what you think.
Defense still wins championships.
Well, y'all ain't winning then.
Yeah, okay.
That defense ain't championship caliber, Skip. I'm sorry.
Okay.
Did we get that on tape?
Yeah.
Yes.
Thank you. They've been looking pretty good.
No mercy.
Don't miss your chance to win $25,000 tonight on the Fox Bet Super 6 app, where players have won over $5.5 million. Scan the QR code, download the app, pick the outcomes of 6 NBA games for your chance to win, and it is free to play, so good luck winning some money. One of those games is Pacers-Nuggets, but Nikola Jokic won't be playing after receiving a 1-game suspension for shoving Markieff Morris at the end of Denver's win over Miami on Monday. Jokic was also ejected from the game and was immediately remorseful afterward for how the incident played out. Morris, on the other hand, was fined $50,000 for the initial flagrant foul that led to the reigning MVP's retaliation. So, Shannon, do you agree with the punishment?
No. If Jokic got suspended, Markieff Morris should have got suspended because he set this chain of events in motion. Skip, I can give you an example. I know a guy that's possibly not going to play this year, was bumped on the side, not nearly as hard as Nikola Jokic. Joe Ingles bumped Kawhi, not nearly as hard. Now, this man goes that he tears his knee. What's going to be said? That wasn't my intention. I was just trying to foul it. Well, Jokic says, you know what? Y'all not protecting me. I'm going to protect myself.
Yep.
Run back up, hit him in his back. It's kind of like, Skip, you see in the NFL, a guy does something, the guy retaliates, and he falls all on the ground. You see what he did? Now he the victim. Keith Morris got people thinking he the victim. He started this.
He did.
At this point in the game's over. And you take this side swipe the man like that and don't expect the man to retaliate or to respond. Nah, they got this all wrong. He gets a game. Keith Morris gets $50,000. Nah, that ain't right. If you're going to suspend Yoke, Morris needs to go sit one down also. It's still not an equal trade because that's the reigning MVP.
It is.
So Marcus Morris is what, the 8th, 9th, 10th guy on the team? So we lose an MVP and your 10th guy get fined $50,000.
Yep. I'll go you one better. Why not just heavy fine?
Yes.
Just fine them and go on, because nobody would fault the NBA for just saying, you get a fine and you get a fine. You're both out of line, but it's not the end of the world. And it was a chain reaction.
Right.
And you have to take into consideration the context of it, the reputations at stake, the circumstance of it. It is the reigning MVP, but what's the book on him? He's always been seen as a little soft and a lot passive, where you can hammer on him and he will not retaliate because that's just the European way. He's just going to play on, right? And because he is the MVP, he finally felt empowered to say in a flashpoint moment, I don't think he didn't sit down before the game and think about it. It just happened. For the first and maybe the last time in his career, he lost it for a flashpoint moment late in a game that was completely over.
Yes.
It's 113-96, and it's what you call a take foul, but it is a way out of bounds cheap shot. And I think of the immortal Shaquille O'Neal line once upon a time when he beat my Spurs in a playoff game. Tim Duncan had made an impossibly lucky shot, and then Shaq made a luckier shot to win the game.
No, that was Derek Fisher.
I mean, Derek Fisher, I'm sorry, but Shaq, this is a Derek Fisher game. You're right. And he said one lucky shot deserves another. One cheap shot deserves another.
Absolutely.
That's exactly right. So in the end, it was such a cheap shot. It was so out of bounds that Yoke just lost it, and he said, I know this is wrong, and he just gushed about how wrong he was after the game, to his credit. That's why he shouldn't have been suspended. He, as opposed to Aaron Rodgers, he was completely contrite about it, but he saed, I just had to protect myself.
Exactly.
Well, who can argue with that?
Nobody.
Who takes issue with that?
And that's what you got to do. Sometimes, Skip, you just got to fire off on somebody. Now, guess what? They won't be cheat shotting me no more. I get people they're gonna think long and hard before you elbow the man in the ribs or you run. The man is gonna try to pass. He's trying to get a ball up, and you run and put your shoulders in his rib. Now, what if he breaks a rib, Skip?
Good question.
No one thought what could have happened with Morris fouling Yoke in the manner in which he did. Everybody's only thinking, well, Morris turned his back and he shoved him in the back. Well, he turned around, so now he the victim. Well, he ain't squared me up. Why'd you turn? Normally, when you do something like that, what you do? You look at the guy, what's up?
But
no, you turn.
He turned because he has no respect for Jokic as a fighter or a defender of his position, right?
Skip, he was on the Lakers when they played the Nuggets in the Western Conference Finals.
Was?
So he know what the scouting report is.
Oh, he knows, yeah.
Yeah, you get physical with him.
Yeah.
You get physical. Because Yoke does do a lot of complaining. He's like, he's turning to the rough and he's running up the court. And so,
but it's all good natured.
Yeah. He's just like, okay, give me some of those calls that y'all give Giannis, that y'all give Joel Embiid. Let me get some of those. And now he's the MVP. He absolutely should get those calls. But I agree with you, Skip. If you can't suspend one without suspending the guy that caused the act.
Yep. So Jokic even said after the game that he watched the video. Somebody showed it to him in the locker room. And he said, I saw that his head snapped back because it whiplashed, and he's out for this game.
Right.
And I assume it's because of that play. And Jokic went on to say, I feel really bad about that. And I believe him, heart and soul, that he feels bad about that. He does play the game the right way.
Of course. And he ain't got no history of doing no mess like this.
No, there's no cheap shot in him.
Right.
This was completely out of character, but necessary.
Right.
To protect his character.
Right.
Right?
Yeah, and I saw the video of when Mars sideswiped Jokic. He could have been seriously hurt in that situation.
He sure could
and
have.
Ain't nobody, and I get Eric Spoelstra is supposed to take up for his guys. His teammates are supposed to take up for him. But my guy, if I'm on the Nuggets, it is what it is. He cheap shotted our guy. I got cheap shotted him back. Hey, I thought it was all good. That's the way it is. That's the thing I loved about football, Skip. When I was growing up, we didn't know football was as dangerous as it was. If my guy got his arm broke, we thought you did that on purpose. Yeah. So guess what? We're going to try to break your arm back.
I got it.
My guy get hurt. That was even in high school, Skip. I remember I got sideswiped in my knee. And dude named Luther Maynard was a running back. We called him Scoop. Yeah. And he's like, man, what number was it? I said, man, number 2 got me. He said, don't worry about it. I go to the hospital, Skip, because my knee got a torn MCL. I go to the hospital.
You had a torn MCL?
Yeah.
I didn't know that.
Yeah, I did.
Wow.
Yeah, in high school.
In high school.
Yeah.
Wow.
And so the next, 2 days later, I come back. 3 days later, I come back to school. He said, I got him. I put him out too. That's the way. That was the mindset, Skip. You can't do that to that man. And
so what'd you do to him?
I didn't do it. I was just running the ball. Skip, the dude made a tackle. But that was the way we were wired back then, Skip. If somebody got hurt on my team, you did that you hurt him on purpose. So we got to try to hurt you back. Well, I got the same mentality. I'm going to get you, I'm going to get one of your guys back.
Okay. And by the way, speaking of that, Eric Spoelstra now says that the Heat are in a foul mood over this. Like they want to get even with somebody, and unfortunately, you're in the crosshairs.
Okay.
You're Lakers.
Hey, that's what I like. That. Hey, I used to love play team like that. Dirty team like the Raiders. Hey, how we going to do this? I just need to know how we going to do it. Really? Snap the whistle or snap the after the whistle. Because we do it any kind of way you want to. Hey, I'm going to give it to you plus shipping and handling. Because I need to make sure you get it on time. Because with the holidays coming along, sometimes the package don't arrive on time.
Well, wait a second. Do the Fakers have any enforcers on that team?
We got Dwight.
You got Dwight.
DeAndre.
You got 14.
We got Rondo.
DeAndre.
We got Doe. We got Rondo.
DeAndre's an enforcer?
Rondo. We got Rondo.
He's about a 6 foot tall.
That's all right.
I will give you that. He's got enforcer in him. He just doesn't have enough to back it up.
Yeah. He ain't got much force, but he got
the end part, right?
Yeah. But Skip, man, you can't skip. And I'm listening to people talking about, that ain't no common foul. No. They gonna call a flag. Nah, in a situation like that, Skip, the game's out of hand. And I remember, Skip, we were losing the game by 14 with like 3 minutes left in the game. I ain't cutting nobody. The game's already over with now. We down 21 points, and Mike still got us in there. I'm straight up blocking, man. Yeah. I ain't doing nothing, even though cutting was legal in the box back then obviously when I played, Skip.
And remember, his mindset was, in that flashpoint moment, wait a second.
Yes.
I'm the MVP of this league.
Right.
You can't do that to me.
Right.
On my home floor and walk away like you did nothing.
It's like, Skip, we getting victory formation. Now, okay, guys, we calling down. Now, Skip, I got my chin strap unbuttoned. I don't unbuckle my shoulder pads. I'm just taking one step. Dude, fire off the ball.
I know.
Don't worry about it.
Yeah.
Button this thing back up. Okay, I got something for you.
Unwritten rule.
Yeah, exactly.
I got that.
I've already told you, Skip, you looking at me at my shoulder pads straps hanging, chin strap unbuttoned, and you want to fire off the ball. We're in victory formation. Don't worry. Don't worry about it.
Got it.
Got it? No mercy. Odell Beckham Jr. officially became a free agent after no team claimed the wide receiver on waivers. And according to reports, the Packers are OBJ's preferred destination. But another report says the Chiefs and Saints are also in play for Odell. So, Shannon, what is the best fit of those three teams for OBJ?
Well, it's really, for me, Skip, it's really a toss-up between the Kansas City Chiefs and the Green Bay Packers, and this is what we've been talking about for the last 2 or 3 days, especially since we found out that he was going to be released, and they had worked his contract. Give Cleveland credit, Skip, because they could have just said, you know what, we're going to pay it. Hey, you ain't got no money, you don't owe no money, and the worst team, it goes from worst to first, get the claim. But they put a roster bonus in there that somebody would have to, you claim it, you got to pay that roster bonus.
Yep.
So he's a free agent, he gets to choose. For me, Aaron Rodgers or Patrick Mahomes, because that's what it comes down to, Skip. That's really it.
Yeah.
I believe he'll get more opportunities in Kansas City than Green Bay because of the uniqueness of Tyreek and Travis Kelce. Whereas where Devontae Adams is the number one, so is Tyreek. But we know it's like Aaron Rodgers don't see anybody but Devontae.
No.
And I don't know. I mean, I'm winning, but Skip, winning, I want to participate. I want to feel like I'm participating, not just going along for the ride. And so for me, to make it short, simple, and sweet, I believe Kansas City will be a better fit because he's going to get opportunities. When they double Tyreek and they double Kelce, he's going to have one-on-one coverage. And I still believe Odell can beat one-on-one coverage. And I believe he's better. He's a substantial upgrade over Mecole Hardman and Pringle and Robinson.
I got it. I'm going to reiterate. I believe that for Odell, city fit is very important, more so than most any free agent that we've ever dealt with. So Odell sees himself as Big Apple Odell, but he's from New Orleans. So on just sheer city fit, to go home to New Orleans would make him the most comfortable. The problem with New Orleans is it's Trevor Siemian.
Yeah.
So really? Okay.
Yeah.
You're going to be happy with that? Because you want to talk about glaring need for a wideout?
It is reported that the Saints tried to trade for Teddy Bridgewater. They reached out to the Broncos about trading for Teddy Bridgewater.
Okay. So Kamara is by far their leading receiver coming out of the backfield. But if you go to wide receivers, it's Callaway with 39 targets, and he's caught 22 balls. And then little Deontay Harris has 31 targets, but he's caught 21 balls for the team leading of wide receivers, 323 yards. Well, obviously, without Michael Thomas, it's just screaming for a superstar to walk in the door and say, I got this, right?
Yeah, but how are you going to
Trevor Siemian?
It's Trevor Siemian.
I got it. But would he be happy in the confines of New Orleans? Sure he would.
But here's the thing, Skip. How many times have we seen a player go home and that works out well for him?
I don't know.
We got a guy right now out here in L.A. Came home. How'd that work it out?
Well, he's loving it. You're not, but he's loving it. I think he's in heaven, right?
Now winning.
Okay.
So for me, Skip, I don't really know. I think for me it's no-brainers. Aaron Rodgers, Patrick Mahomes.
Okay. Green Bay, Kansas City, Odell. Help me out. He never got comfortable with being in Cleveland, Ohio. First time that he was going back and forth with one of his followers from Cleveland. How are the restaurants out there?
Yeah.
Out there? I'm a Big Apple guy. You know, I'm here in Manhattan, right?
Yeah, you know, they
out
got
there.
They got Cipriani, they got Del Frisco, they got the best of the best.
Okay. And Green Bay has a McDonald's? I don't know.
I hope he like bratwurst. And they got some brats.
Okay.
They got some good brats out there.
It gets cold in Green Bay.
It gets bone-crunching cold.
Dark, and it gets cold.
Yeah.
It's dark at like 3 o'clock, right?
It does.
Okay, so it's not a fun place to live. It can be a fun place to play. Obviously, the fandom is just fanatical, right?
Yep.
There's nothing like it. Okay, but Devontae is by far the number one target. It is his team. It's his town. When in doubt, 12 looks for 17.
Right.
It's just I'm going to just throw it to 17 because he's going to go get it somehow.
Right.
Right? And so he's got 87 targets. Remember, he missed one game because of COVID, but he's got 87 targets. Next wide receiver on the team is Randall Cobb, Aaron's favorite guy that he wanted back, has 28 targets. 87 to 28. Yikes. I mean, it's absurd.
So now Odell's going to have to go in there. His favorite target is Devontae. His best friend is Randall Cobb. So now you got...
Okay. Are you sure? And you got the all-time diva at quarterback who's not going to suffer anything from you. Any diva behavior from you is going to be like, I'm out.
Right.
I got 17. I'll just throw it to 17.
My
Okay?
homeboy, where is that?
All right. It could be, okay? So, unfortunately, my homeboy has turned back into Mahomes because he even lost his 99 Madden rating. They already dropped him down a notch, right? To 98, yeah.
He get it back.
Okay. Well, will he?
We get Odell, we get it back in 2 weeks.
Because you want to talk about shell of yourself? I don't know, because Patrick Mahomes is getting worse by the week because he's second-guessing. I saw another Pro Football Focus stat about him. If he goes away from his first read, he's become a disaster because then he tries to do things that are supernatural and the league is caught up with
All you
him.
got to do is just take what's there.
Okay.
I mean, you got a lot of times the check down is there, but Skip, when you've had success throwing bomb after bomb after bomb, hitting 60-yarders, 70-yarders to Tyreek and Hardman, it's hard. Hey, take that back in the flat. Take one of those wide receivers when they want him on a short rim. Take it. It's there.
All right.
And then it'll open up once they start to creep down, you throw over the top.
So targets in Kansas City so far, Tyreek is at 101. It's a lot of targets. Kelsey's at 79. The next wide receiver is McCole Hardman, way down at 53. So McCole Hardman's barely half of what Tyreek gets in targets, right?
But think about it. But you still got Kelsey in between.
You do.
I mean, you got Devontae at 87 after missing a game.
Yep.
That would probably be at least 100.
They're Devontae or bust.
Yes.
This is a two-headed beast. When it's right, it's those two.
Right.
One or the other, one or the other. And yet they tried to force Josh Gordon into the equation, and it has not worked. I don't know what he's got left.
Nothing.
Okay, just apparently nothing. And Mecole has a little moment here or there.
He got his hands.
Yeah.
He 50-50.
Yeah.
And there's a 50% chance he catches it, a 50% chance he drops it. And there's a situation they ran what was just a little simple out route.
Yep.
Third down. That's one of the reasons, Skip. They had more third downs on Sunday than they had at any point in time in any game.
Okay. So my point is, are you sure you want to do this to Patrick Mahomes? Because he's having enough trouble figuring out, should I throw it to Tyreek or Kelsey or maybe McCole? You want to throw another big name into the equation?
That's when he ain't got to worry about it. Throw that thing to Odell.
He might unravel even further.
Odell got a couple more of them in his back pocket.
Really?
Yep.
Okay. Well, does he?
Yes.
Okay. I'm wondering whatever happened to Patrick Mahomes, because I don't know.
Don't you worry about it. You'll find out what's happened to him. In about another week, you'll find out what happened to Patrick Mahomes.
The ultimate disgrace was Jordan Love in his first start.
Lost.
On the road at Arrowhead, threw for more yards than Patrick Mahomes, 190 to 166.
Let me ask you a question.
Boy, that
when
is
we go back,
shameful.
When we in 10 years from now, when we ask, did Jordan Love win or lose his first start? What are you going to say?
That Patrick Mahomes was lucky to be playing Jordan Love. He was just very lucky because he did everything in his power to lose that game.
No. What about that throw at the end? How many guys can make that throw to Tyreek?
And that's the first one he's made of those in 3 weeks.
That's what I'm talking about, because he still has that. He's still that dude.
Clock. I give you that.
He's still that dude. You remember he iced the clock against you? You remember Tampa?
He did. Against Tampa, he iced the clock after Brady came back magnificently, historically, goatishly, and almost got home.
Mahomes still that guy.
Yeah, and then what happened in the Super Bowl? Help me out.
Oh, really? Really?
Yeah, but they rebuilt the offensive line. It looks like
I can't tell.
Meet the new line, same as the old line.
Yeah,
right?
You see that too, huh?
Okay. Way to go. I think you're having a hard time with Mahomes.
So where do you think he should go?
I told you Raiders. It just makes all the sense in the world to me. Well,
no.
Las Vegas, great fit for Odell.
He ain't no over the night. What do you think he is, Wayne Newton?
Yep, he's Wayne Newton.
No Lounge Jack.
Yeah.
This ain't no old Stardust Hotel.
No.
Yeah, we big time. KC.
Really?
Barbecue.
He could have his own show in Vegas.
He could have his own show in Kansas City. Yeah. Yeah, you don't go to Vegas.
I can just see Odell walking to Kansas City. Where am I?
So he's supposed to go to some smoky field casino?
I'm in Kansas City.
He Frank Sinatra now?
This is where I wound up, in Kansas City.
Yeah.
I feel like he can't really be selective anymore. He's tried a few places and it hasn't worked so well. So at this point, who wants him, right?
No mercy.
This week, the most electrifying player in the league is on Thursday Night Football. Lamar Jackson and the Ravens square off against the Dolphins. It all starts tomorrow at 7:30 Eastern, 4:30 Pacific on Fox, NFL Network, and streaming on Prime Video. Well, Jerry Jones wasn't afraid to give his analysis of why the Cowboys came up so short against the Broncos last week. On a radio appearance, Jones said the team was overconfident and looked, quote, as flat as any team I've seen. Jerry also said he wasn't a fan of Dak playing late during the blowout loss as the QB was coming back from a calf injury. Interesting he said that. Shannon, do you agree with Jerry's issues with this?
Absolutely, and I said it. It made no sense to have Dak in the game at that point in time, Skip. You're down 30-0 with 6 minutes and 30 seconds left in the fourth quarter. And Dak is still out there, scrambling, breaking tackles because they had him sacked one time and he broke like 3 tackles. What happens if Dak re-injures that calf, Skip? What happens if this man gets sacked and he lands on that collarbone? Mike McCarthy going to be out of the job. Jerry saying, hold on, we were overly cautious. He probably could have played last week against Minnesota. But we said we're going to be very cautious with Dak because if Dak goes down, our season goes down along with it. So we're going to be very cautious. But in a 30-0 ball game with 6:32 left in the fourth quarter, you got Dak out there running for a 2-point conversion. Mike McCarthy, let's not have this conversation again, okay? I'm with Jerry on this one, Skip. At this point in time in the game, hey, Cooper, you up. Rush, grab your helmet. Dak's coming out, along with Amari and CD and all those other guys. The reward versus the risk in a situation like this, Skip, is immeasurable. So I'm with Jerry on this one. It made no sense after you've taken the precautions that you've taken with Dak the week before.
Yep.
I'm with Jerry 100% on this one.
For the first and maybe last time on this show, I'm with Drop the Mic McCarthy. That was the most abysmal and shocking performance of Dak Prescott's career.
Yeah.
79 passing yards through 3 quarters.
Yep.
30-0, you're down at home. And I first guessed this the week before because after I saw Dak on the field warming up at Minnesota, I didn't know why they didn't just go ahead and play him.
Right.
Because Chris Collinsworth's sitting up in the booth saying, I watched him work out before the game, go through the drills, and it looked like he was going to start. So Chris was dumbfounded up in the NBC booth that he did not play in that game.
Right.
I thought Jerry got a little too cute there because he was so confident to the point of being overconfident in his football team going forward that, we'll just put him on ice for this game.
Right.
We got old Cooper, because I'm going to show everybody I was right about Cooper Rush because I wanted him to sign Cam Newton, and it went Cooper Mount Rushmore in that game. I never seen anything like it before because he played way better in that game than Dak played against your Denver Broncos.
He did.
So they got away with it, and they thought they were just the coolest operation in pro football, and they thought, okay, we're right on schedule. We'll let Dak ease back into the fray against the defense that's second in points allowed in the National Football League. And I kept telling you, I respect their defense. I respect Vic Fangio's defensive coordination because he's pretty good at that side of the ball.
I think you respect the offense now, too.
Okay, do I really? Teddy Bridgewater?
Hey, he got 30 points on that defense. Your defense, remember?
I don't know how. But the point is he did it. Okay. The point is that they got so cute with keeping Dak out that kept him out for 2 weeks, and effectively 3 weeks. It's 3 weeks going into the game. Was it rust? Was he still a little gun shy with the calf pushing off? It didn't look like it to me. I think it was just rust. And once he got off cold, he stayed cold all the way into the fourth quarter. So I loved it that Mike McCarthy had the guts to take the risk of saying, I just got to get my man back on schedule here. I got to make him feel a little better about himself heading into the Atlanta game. I do.
You don't.
That's what I did.
You don't. Fourth quarter, when everybody done call the dogs off, they're playing soft coverage. Because all I know is that when the Broncos said, okay, let's play ball, and they locked it down, Dak didn't do none of that what he did when Vic Fangio called the dogs off.
Okay. Do you think Dak Prescott feels better right now off what he did in the fourth quarter on Sunday versus if he'd gotten yanked after 3 quarters?
He feels like stir-fry either way.
No, he feels way better right now.
We did that.
Because it felt like good old days.
Skip, it felt like what you've been doing for the long time. Remember, we talked about this in 2019. We talked about this in 2020. All these empty calories, and they don't taste good.
Okay.
Because you got those in a situation where the defense had backed off. They were not playing like they played. Now, he'd have felt better if he'd have got to put a drive together in the third quarter. Let's just say, Skip, he puts a drive together in the third quarter or early in the fourth quarter. Okay, I feel good about this. But now they done call the dogs up. They just chilling, letting you do what you do. And you got 16 little measly points.
I wanted to see Dak be Dak a little bit. And I got to see him be Dak a lot because he threw for 153 in the fourth quarter alone. He threw 2 touchdown passes, albeit to some undrafted free agent out of Illinois named Malik Turner.
Let this sink in, Skip.
Been on Seattle's team a couple of years and has been on Dallas a couple of years.
Think about this. Dak threw for double the amount of yards in the last 7-8 minutes of the ball game than he had up until in 3 quarters.
Good.
So that tells you that the Broncos had called the dogs out. He had enough. We beat them down. That's enough.
Okay. 30-16 sounds a whole lot better than 30-0.
But if you watch that game, you know what it is. It was it was what it was. Skip.
Yep.
It's okay, Skip. You've had game. I mean, it's times like that where you know what? We just ain't got it today. They the better team. Hey, we'll get back next week.
I needed Dak to get back on track.
He ain't.
And he did. I do not love the running for the 2-point conversion. If we could
Why
see
not?
that.
He in the game.
Could we show that just real quick, just to show? This is insanity to me. Like, what? Okay.
And you got to plan on. Somebody hold on, he in the game, Skip.
I'm assuming it was a call play.
Of course it was.
It looks like a quarterback draw. I don't know if he just bolted, but that's pretty crazy. But still. Does he feel better right now? Yes, he does.
No, that wasn't no call play, because look at the guys running routes. Well, I mean,
so you think he just bolted the
I don't
pocket?
know what he did.
I don't know. Because on a quarterback draw, you're going to run your routes.
But let me ask you a question. Why was he in the game to begin with? If you're not in the game,
get his confidence back.
If he wasn't in the game, you'd have to worry about him running the quarterback.
Have you ever seen Dak Prescott play a worse football game than he had played through 3 quarters? Because I have not.
Have you seen him play a better defense than what he faced on Sunday?
Oh yeah, a whole lot better.
When?
Opening night at Tampa Bay.
Stop it, Skip Bayless.
Start it. They're all back. You said you bet me like 20 cases of dew. They like half of them would be gone, and they all came back.
But Skip,
and they were all healthy, at least for a while.
Skip,
until Murphy Bunting went out in the first quarter.
But what have we said about defenses that returned the guys?
Okay, but they're all back. It was the best defense in pro football the last 6 or 8 games.
Okay,
right?
What's the likelihood that they pick it right up? You see, you and others thought they just picked right up. That's not how it works, because teams break you down. They look at every single game film that you put on tape. Okay. They break it down and says, okay, this is where they're vulnerable. This is where we can attack them. This is how we can attack them. They don't look the same, Skip. Okay,
so where Jerry and company got fooled was Dak took off the whole preseason with some weird lat pull in his.
No, I'm not going to let you use that, because prior to the Sunday's game, I've never seen Dak play any better than what he's playing right now. I've never seen him have the velocity. So, no, not lat strain is not an excuse.
Okay, I'm not saying it's an excuse. They just shut him completely down. I kept saying that last preseason game, their 4th preseason, just let him play a series. Nope. And what did he do? He went to Tampa and lit them up on opening Thursday night.
Guess what he didn't do? We shut him down and had him shut out.
Okay.
That's what we did.
So are you saying my team got exposed?
I'm saying we did a number on Dak and the Cowboys. That's what we did do.
Okay. Well, I'm saying we got back on track in the 4th quarter. I don't care who
get
was
back
playing.
on no track.
I don't care if Vic Fangio was playing middle linebacker. I don't care, because Dak feels better about himself. Dak will bounce completely back against the Falcons, and we'll be off to the races again.
The Falcons don't possess the Broncos' defense, and we picked him. You see that great pick
by
Caden Stern?
4th quarter. Yep.
No, here's you do it. When you send the guy away, they try to run the end, they try to run the dagger in behind you. So he pretend like he gonna go. And he, I got you, Dak. Got it.
It looked like Dak was throwing it to him.
No. Dak was throwing the dagger right to CD Lamb behind.
But it looked like he was primary on the play.
Yeah, we know.
Yeah.
When 3 goes away, 1 coming in behind him, think you're slick. Can't out slick up. Old Vic had him fight. He said, this is what he gonna do. This is what you do. When he goes away, pretend like you're gonna chase him, and then turn back, and the ball will hit you right in the hands.
McCarthy finally got one right.
McCarthy ain't getting up. Hold on. You're going to say what McCarthy did in the 4th quarter.
Yep.
What he should have got right is had him ready to play. That's what Jerry Jones is talking about. This is as flat as we've seen it.
Ever.
Internally.
I agree.
Uh-huh.
Ever. That's on the head coach.
But you want to give him kudos. You want to pat him on the back.
He redeemed himself. He got us back on track. Here we come.
Do you know how much money Cowboys cost bettors? Because everybody bet the Cowboys.
Not my problem.
I've been calling people that don't nobody want to turn my.
Yeah.
I calling people. Hey, let me call you back. No, let's talk right now.
Well, they listened to the Hall of Famer.
Now.
The Hall of Famer predicted 34-17 Dallas.
You're doing a
34.
lot of this today, Shannon.
Yeah, you know what I'm saying? I'm shy. You know I'm shy, Jenny.
You are shy. That's not something you say around
is
here very
not
often.
shy.
No mercy.
Aaron Rodgers received a $14,000 fine for violating COVID protocols, but the QB is still looking to return to the field this weekend against the Seahawks. And during his weekly appearance on the Pat McAfee Show, the reigning MVP apologized for making misleading remarks about his initial vaccine status, adding, quote, "To anybody who felt misled by those comments, I take full responsibility for those comments." Shannon, how much has this tarnished Rodgers' legacy?
None. Because
None?
Skip, because here's the
After you've been scathing on this
but
man.
here's the thing, Skip. Everything, all he did was confirm what I already thought of him as a person. Now, he doesn't change football. I think he's tremendous. He's as great a thrower of the football, maybe if not the greatest thrower of the football. He has 3 regular season MVPs. He has a Super Bowl MVP on his resume. He has the greatest touchdown to interception ratio in NFL history. So as a player, he's everything that you thought. But also as a person, after hearing him talk, he confirmed what I thought about him. He's smug. He's arrogant.
That's what you thought about him. How about what the world thought of him?
I'm not so sure everybody didn't think that about Skip. You hear his press conference. I mean, you listen at him talk. You watch his mannerisms on the field. You get that indication that he's very self-righteous, that he's above everybody, that you made the mistake. I threw the ball in the dirt because you ran a step too far. That's how he thinks in his mind, that he's beyond reproach. He thinks that, Skip, and he's a guy that if you didn't play the game, you didn't coach the game, how dare you critique me? How dare you critique my performance?
Yep.
Who are you? You're beneath me.
Thank you.
He thinks that Skip, I think I do my job better than someone else do their job. I don't think because I have this job, I'm better than you. That's how he thinks. So for me, I look at Aaron Rodgers as the same. A tremendous, historically all-time greats player that's smug, arrogant, narcissistic, flippant, condescending. That's what I think of him. That doesn't change. So for me, Skip, if you're an Aaron Rodgers fan, I don't believe you would move one way. If you're not a fan of his, you're like, see, that's why I couldn't get behind you.
Shannon Sharpe, for the 6 years we've worked together, I have been steadfast in my belief and my position on Aaron Rodgers from the start that off the field impacts on the field. He's one of the poorest excuses for leadership I've ever seen. So it undercuts his ability to be a top-flight quarterback. And I believe that the world mostly saw Aaron very differently than I did. And it took until he's almost 38 years of age for him to be exposed, that I think the world at large finally saw what I've been seeing and saying about Aaron Rodgers for maybe 10 years on national television, that he is a smug, arrogant diva, a blame deflector, a finger pointer, the polar opposite of Tom Brady in leadership, that in the end, he cares only about Aaron to the detriment of his football team and his ability to command said football team.
Right.
It's a large part of why he has fallen to 1-4 in NFC championship games. It's a large part of the reason of why, since that one long ago run to a Super Bowl, he was the MVP. He's 7-8 in postseason games, and a bunch of the 7 are pretty lucky because there was the Dez catch game, there was the Mason crossbar game, in which he kicked 2 intergalactic field goals to beat my Cowboys at Jerry World in a first-round playoff game. Is actually their second playoff game, but they were from 51 and 56 yards. He's been able to beat Joe Webb in a playoff game, Kirk Cousins in a playoff game. He was the beneficiary of Odell taking his receivers to South Beach for that game up on the frozen tundra at Lambeau. So he's actually been pretty lucky to even be 7-8 in the postseason. Yet if you hark back, there was a lot of sympathy that built for Aaron Rodgers because he was the guy who got left at the altar in the green room of the draft. Yeah. Remember on draft night, he fell from, could have been the first pick in the draft with Alex Smith back and forth 50-50.
And he's still mad about that.
But he fell all the way to 24th. He had to sit in that green room for a long time, right?
You remember, hold on, when was that? You remember in Green Bay when they didn't take a knee, they linked arms, and they booed? And then the next week, Aaron Rodgers come out there and throw 3-4 touchdowns, and they cheered again.
Okay.
That's just how,
I got it.
that's how fans are wired.
But the other sympathy card that got played for him was he had to sit for 3 years behind another guy that a lot of people thought was an even bigger diva in Brett Favre.
Right.
Am I retiring? Am I staying? Am I going? Okay. And he sat for 3 years. Then he got his chance. And once he got his chance, he also got his commercial. And you can't tell me those State Farm commercials aren't great for a Chris Paul or an Aaron Rodgers.
Right.
Because it puts them on the national map.
Right.
Casual fans know him more from the State Farm commercial.
Right.
Oh, he's that great guy in the State Farm. It's discount double check, right?
Right.
From the start. This is going all the way back.
And you get an opportunity to get seen outside of what you do for a living. So they get to see another side of you, Skip. Now, Chris Paul is not dribbling the basketball. Now, Aaron Rodgers is not throwing a football. We get to see them as a human being. Because, you know, as an athlete, sometimes you don't get viewed.
In Aaron's case, it fools you into thinking, oh, he's a great guy.
It really get great,
Oh, what a great guy he is.
Yeah, Jake.
Jake from State Farm. He loves Aaron. And Aaron loves, he's a great guy. No, he's not. So his reputation got permanently stained to me because a lot of people are going to think very differently going forward about Aaron Rodgers.
But I believe a lot of those people, Skip, had already had an idea of who they thought Aaron Rodgers was just by listening to him talk, listening to see how his mannerisms, like you said, coming off the field, he rolling his eyes, and a receiver does this, he doing this, like you got to flatten the route off. It's a lot of the things that he do that shapes the perception of, like, is he like that? And then you hear him talk. Yep, that's exactly how he is.
Okay, and he didn't do himself any more good post getting exposed for...
Because he didn't apologize.
He didn't apologize. He showed zero contrition in either of the two interviews that he's done on the McAfee show.
Shouldn't have, I'm sorry?
Yep. Nope. Nothing. Not a word.
Because he's not. He just, the blowback got so great. And maybe some of his handlers, one of these crisis management guys, like, look, you need to go out there and try to do a 180, do a about face. And, even if because it didn't come off as sincere.
For anybody I misled, I take full responsibility. Hell with you, because I am who I am. Yeah. And I said what I said.
Right.
I take full responsibility.
So if you stand by what you said, you're not sorry for what you said.
Not at all sorry.
Skip, I thought the whole point of an apology was to show contrition and be apologetic for what you may have said or what you've done. But if you say that, I did this, but I stand by what I said, how are you apologetic? How are you sorry for what you said? How's that contrition? Yeah, I said that. I stand by the comments. So if I offended you, oh well.
He is what he always was.
Yes.
Yeah, even more on display than before.
No mercy.
Saturday, Big 12 contenders square off in the Big Noon Saturday game of the week as 8th-ranked Oklahoma faces off with number 13 Baylor. It all starts with the Big Noon kickoff crew live from Waco at 10 a.m. Eastern, all part of Big Noon Saturday on Fox and the Fox Sports app. Heading to Waco tomorrow. And guys, Scottie Pippen, well, he's not backing down, sharing his side of playing with Michael Jordan in an interview yesterday. Pippen discussed playing through back pain during the 1998 finals. He compared it to MJ's flu game, saying, quote, "I'm going to ask you this. Is it easier to play with a herniated disc or to play with the flu?" Skip, he doesn't stop. Does Scottie have a point?
Yeah, Skip, which is easier?
Here is the painful irony of what Scottie Pippen is saying. He is actually enhancing Michael Jordan's GOATness by making this point. Yes, I was there. I was in Salt Lake for Game 6, 1998 Bulls, covering that team, the Last Dance team. Scottie was about to need back surgery after the finals were over. Yes, I'll give you that. The back was worse than the flu because he just had a flu bug from a pizza that got delivered to the hotel.
So maybe it was food poisoning, not a flu.
Okay, well, that's exactly what it was. So the point was, just before Game 6, I was told by a Bulls insider, Scottie is in really bad shape. He can barely go tonight and almost certainly will not be able to go in a potential Game 7, which in that 2-3-2 format was in Salt Lake.
That's correct.
So it was at Utah for Game 7. So Scottie was going to be a shell of himself, but you better get home in Game 6 because you might have no chance in Game 7.
Because anything can happen in a Game 7.
So Phil told Michael before the game, it's all you, baby. We got to go. Here we go. And what did Michael do with virtually no Scottie? He scored 8 points in 26 minutes. Michael scored 45 of their 87 points. Michael said in the fourth quarter, give me the ball and get out of my way. And he scored 16 down the stretch as Scottie in the fourth quarter scored 2 points. My favorite picture that I got one piece of memorabilia. It's that last shot play in which Scottie's open on the wing saying, I'm open, give me the ball. And Michael says, I don't care, because Karl Malone had fallen back into the lane. I got Brian Russell. I got this. And he held the pose on the game-winning walk-off shot after he'd stolen the ball from Karl Malone and dribbled the length of the court. It was all-time, game over, GOAT. And it was because Scottie couldn't go in that game that Michael said, I got you. So he went solo that night and scored 45 of 87 points. So Scottie is actually right about that. And in the end, Scottie is all-time wrong about this.
Skip, we all know that it's harder to play with a bad back. You know that back lockup.
It's terrible.
It's
the worst.
You walking like Frankenstein.
It's just the worst. There's nothing like it.
If Scottie hits a game-winning shot with that bad back, Skip, you can't play 26 minutes, have 8 points, and talk about, well, I was more, the flu game when George had 38 points, was more impressive. What? Scottie Wyden, look, Skip, I get you.
He cannot let this go.
You're peddling a book.
Yeah.
And here's the thing. He had this resentment back when they played. But if I got this resentment, why not package it and make money off of it? Because it does me no good. Because me to just have this, I can have this, put it on paper, box it up, and sell it.
Yep.
Never. Skip, there are times, and my teammates know this, Skip, there are times they see me on the table, I got big needles going in both ankles, going in my shoulders, going in my ribs, going in my butt.
Okay.
Man, John out there playing with it. I ain't comparing my injury to his. He did what he did. I did what I did. Why was there a comparison? We won. You won, Scottie. I don't care if you was out there trying to play with no legs. Nobody is ever going to think you're the equivalent of Jordan, nor should they. But I don't know why you want to revisit this topic now. Jordan did what he did. You were a great player, but there's levels to greatness.
If Scottie had not been able to go and Michael had gone 4 for 30 in the game and they had lost by 12 at Utah and then lost Game 7 and he couldn't play at all, well, then he'd have a great case. He'd have a huge point. I got you. But that's not what happened.
What he should have done, instead of using this game, he should have used the game that he had a migraine against the Pistons, in which they lost. That was a situation where you see the importance, you see my value. You can't take a game in which the man scores 45 and have over half of the points, and you got 8. You can't use that as the argument because they won. He won the flu game. You got to use the game in which you were not up to yourself, and Jordan lost. And you can say, see, without me.
So you're admitting finally once and for all that Jordan is the GOAT.
No, I didn't say.
Well, that's what you're saying.
I mean, over Scottie Pippen, yes.
Over Scottie Pippen? No, over the king.
No.
Yeah.
The king is here.
Yeah, where is he? I don't know. Whatever happened? Oh, he's gone again.
That's okay. That's okay. But you know we come back.
Gone. Yep.
Take off.
He's going to be gone for what, 2 months?
No. He going to be gone. Skip, they said a week. We take it a week.
No, I think it's like.
We're good. We'll get, first of all, he's a former trainer. That means he doesn't have any pertinent information about this situation.
He's saying 4 to 8 weeks.
That ain't what the Lakers said.
For a little stomach pull? I don't know.
A little stomach pull. So you had
anybody can play with that.
Oh, okay, yeah.
Your guy's gone.
Get cramps in your abdomen. People, you never had cramps in your abdomen, you know you ain't playing nothing.
No mercy.
Chet Holmgren dazzled in his Gonzaga debut, putting up 14 points, 13 rebounds, 6 assists, and a school record 7 blocks in the Bulldogs season opener. So at least for one night, the top overall recruit lived up to the hype. So Shannon, we're jumping ahead. Will the 7-foot freshman be the best player in college basketball and the #1 pick in the draft?
I can see both of those things happening. Guys is tremendously skilled. You know, he's the first player in 25 years to have a 10-10-5-5 ball game. But I'm sure the scouts are asking themselves, is this guy Kristaps Porzingis or is he Kevin Durant? That's the question.
I don't know if they're asking that.
The dude's 7 foot tall, about 115 pounds.
He's 7'2".
Okay, 7'2", 115. Porzingis is 7'3". Kevin Durant is 7 foot tall. And remember, Kevin Durant couldn't lift 135. And they're like, well, man, he ain't strong. But he can lift that basketball.
Hey, we have seen a lengthy parade of 7-foot American white centers who never live up to their draft position, right?
No.
This kid is different. And I've only watched the highlights, but I told you this last year. This kid is 7'2", who plays like 6'2", athletic.
Yeah, he's not really a back to the basket. He can shoot the ball. I watched him last year, Skip, play against Amani Bates, the guy that's at Memphis State, I think, right now.
Yes, he is.
And he did a number on him.
He did. This kid has skill, and he's got shot blocking swagger to him.
Does.
He's just different, and I think he's going to be legit, the real deal, inside and outside game.
You think how good you think he'll be in the NBA?
Good. I think he can be an all-star.
Either way, it's exciting. It's exciting to watch. All right, guys. Skip, Shannon, great stuff. We're back same time tomorrow. The Herd is on now. Have a good day.